Hey, this is Randy. If you're an entrepreneur or really anyone who's trying to live with more purpose and intention, check out a recent podcast I discovered called Bits of Gold. Bits of Gold is a weekly podcast where host Danny Goldberg shares his inspiring stories to help us discover and live with more purpose in all we do. A little bit about Danny. By 25, he lost both his parents to rare cancers, and it changed how he viewed the world. He now interviews the world's most passionate mentors, coaches, athletes, and entrepreneurs, and he asks them a question: how do you truly live? Join him as he interviews fascinating individuals who dive deep into thought-provoking topics, offering bits of gold on navigating adversity, building resilience, finding joy, and living purposefully. Go check it out. Bits of Gold with Danny Goldberg. It's hosted on all your favorite podcast platforms. I'm Randy Rohde, and I'm fascinated with entrepreneurs and small business owners. Plus, I love baseball. Every show, I sit down with a small business owner, and we discuss their running the bases of entrepreneurship. We throw the ball around on strategy, management, execution, and innovation. Plus, a little fun baseball talk. Hey, thanks for joining us today. Settle in, grab your Cracker Jacks, and you know what they say.
Play ball!
And it's a great day for a ball game. And this is Randy Rohde on Running the Bases with Small Businesses. And our guest today is the president and CEO at the Neat Company, based in Philadelphia. He graduated from Cornell University and dove straight into web development and product management arenas, eventually starting his own firm, Walletron. Interesting name. And after several years, he exited there and is currently leading the charge at the Neat Company. And we're going to learn all about that. Welcome to the show, Garrett Baird. Garrett, glad to have you.
Great to be with you, Randy.
Yeah, very fun. Hey, our research team always does a fabulous job and prepares the show for us. And they always dig up the most interesting tidbits of information on our guests. And this one, when I saw this the other day, I'm like, wow, that's very cool. And I have to ask you about this. This is dating back to a New York Times article that she found. And I think the title of it is From Fraternity President to Captain of Summer. And the gist of it is, so I'll tell to the listeners here, is that you essentially kind of were the head or leader, or I don't know what title you'd want to give yourself, but for a number of different of summers, you essentially managed houses for kind of co-sharing on the Jersey Shore for like 8 to 17 people, evidently. And there's so many questions I have just around that. We could probably do just a show on that subject. But how did you get into that? Tell us about that.
Oh, man. So that's Cracker Jack research there, by the way, to your team. So I can see my wife's face getting red downstairs where she is right now. That was literally the time when we were first getting together. So for years, I was just putting together a fun summer house for a group of kind of rowdy 20-somethings who wanted to go get some sunburn on the weekend after working hard during the week. And you always needed somebody who's kind of put it together, make sure everybody paid, figured out what the policies were going to be about guests, which was always a weird, controversial thing. Yeah. And I was always happy to do it. It was good fun, but eventually, life takes over, and I met somebody very special. Yeah. We've been married now for 12 years, 3 kids later. Those I do miss those days though sometimes. But
the summer
beach fun takes on a very different form now, Randy.
Yes, it does. Believe me, I know as well with kids. So the Jersey Shore, I don't know if I've ever spent any time actually on the Jersey Shore, but I'm just imagining, it's beach and your experience is interesting. So When I was in college, I lived in a house with, we always had people coming and going during the summers in college like that. But what you're describing, we're like kind of, I'll call them young professionals. I mean, these are people who actually had some money and who had jobs, and they're like, hey, we want to live out on the Jersey Shore for the summer, and just had some, I'm guessing you probably have some very fun summer stories, probably some you can't share, but.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yes. But I remember that kind of Memorial Day weekend, getting down there to get everything organized, and having a couple of the people in the shore house making that big trip to Costco figuring out what we're going to stock the house with and get ready for a great summer was just brings back so many fun memories.
Did you bring the people together? I mean, so this had to be like some probably you knew, but I'm guessing as well there were just some that you just met or something.
Friends, acquaintances, and sometimes when we would we'd get these homes with 4 and 5 bedrooms, and you'd sleep kind of maybe 2 or 3 people to a bedroom depending on who was going to be around whatever weekend. These were just friends, and then we of course had to recruit people at times to come in and make sure that we could make the financials meet and make it affordable for everybody. But you had to do that in the wintertime before you committed to a full summer in a particular house. So this was like months of planning in the making to make it all work, but always so worth it. So many like amazing memories with good friends, all of whom we still stay in touch today.
So you were the guy, though.
So many have just gone on to their own lives and families that you do kind of grow up out of this this
eventually we do grow up. Yes. So, but you were like the business head of this, I guess. I don't know if you really had a title or not, but when you start talking about, we had to make the financials work. I mean, you're talking like a real business guy here around this.
It was, I mean, between rules and spreadsheets to collecting the money, making sure everybody was on par. If things got out of control, who's it going to fall back on to get things in order? That was me.
Good experience for you. Yeah. So as you move
it was a great experience.
As you move from that business management, I guess, to your current role as CEO of a very large company, quite a transition. So tell us a little bit about the Neat Company, what it is that you guys do, product services that you offer, how you support small businesses and entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so the Neat Company is actually a 20-year-old business. I've been with the organization for just about 2.5 years. And I came to I've known the business for a long time, been based in Philadelphia like I am. And many people will remember the Neat Company for our scanners. So the Neat Receipts scanner was very popular with road warriors and small business owners in their home to do quick scanning of receipts, invoices, any other kinds of documents. And the company eventually coupled that with a fantastic cloud backup service, one of the first of its kind that had a monthly subscription to it. So we started building relationships with our customers that were more than just a one-time purchase. It was an ongoing relationship with our customer, and the value of being all your data will be there, accessible from any kind of device, but still with the amazing full data parsing that we've always been really good at. That's always one of the surprising things after somebody scans in, say, a receipt or a customer contract or their organizational documents, if they're formed in an LLC or something like that. They see the PDF that gets produced and they're like, wait a minute, I can highlight the text on this and I can search the entire contents of this. So we have always been amazingly strong at parsing documents and helping our customers organize them. And we knew fast forwarding to 3 years ago, that we always wanted to expand on that capability and continue to serve small business owners in new and even more valuable ways. And so that's when we looked at things like, oh, all right, we're pretty heavy into capturing receipts, so maybe just basic expense management and reporting, kind of like the Expensifys of the world at the time, or Concur. But then decided to take it a step even further and take a fresh, simplified approach to basic accounting for very small business owners. And, while the, QuickBooks, FreshBooks, Waves of the world are out there, we found that most people in our niche are either operating their, financial metrics out of a spreadsheet, oftentimes a template that they just downloaded from the internet and kind of created their own system out of, or they're literally running their business out of their online banking in an account that has mingled personal transactions and their business transactions, and they're just kind of winging it. Because as you can probably appreciate, Randy, nobody started their business to become an accounting and bookkeeping expert unless you started an accounting or bookkeeping company.
Unless that's your love. But yeah, no, that is.
So we have now moved into this space to make overall financial organization so easy for our customers, whether you are literally a side hustler, just kind of getting supplementing your income on top of your day job, or all the way up to you're running a multi-person business, whether that's as a creative, so you're serving clients, or you are out doing great work in the world, cutting lawn, cutting hair, whatever it is. Our system gives that. We really wanted to focus on Neat as not just a company name, but the experience itself, getting financially organized and doing it easily without having to know, or for it even to matter, what's a journal entry?
Right.
What's the general ledger? What is, how do I depreciate an asset? For most of our customers who are just concerned about their cash flow, what are my ins and outs? Can I go and take on a new client? Can I hire an employee? Those things don't matter. And so we have made it super simple to manage the cash into your business, the cash out of your business, and your reporting obligations to the government. And then in between, we want to make it super easy for you to see the health of your business along the way. Right. That's it.
Oh, I will say that as one of those people, like, I didn't start a business so that I could run accounting, because for years I have hated, and I would stack up literally like the year's worth of journal entries, because I hate it. And then I would hate the time. I have to spend like 3 days just focused. That's all I did was journal entering. And finally I just okay, I'm done with this. And we brought in, or essentially I should say, we outsourced all of that bookkeeping and all of that, because exactly. I don't want to be an accountant, and I hate doing it. I'd much rather focus on clients and our services that we do. And I've got to imagine that most small business owners are in the same position. I mean, there's so many other things that we always end up dealing with, that accounting is just one of the last aspects of it. But I will tell you, even for me, as much as I deplored it, I always had this reluctance still about it, kind of these objections. And I'm going to throw out some of them to you, and maybe you can address them to assuage the reticence of some of our listeners who are thinking like, do I want to, I did this probably for 2 years. Like, do I want to outsource this or not? One of those was like, so outsourced bookkeeping services are too expensive.
So going back to something that you said, while people, are loath to be doing their accounting, we've found from our, just surveying our customers, they are very interested, however, in what it can tell them. about their business. And so we want to bridge that gap as easily as we can. And sure, does it cost money to get this going? Yes, but we try to keep our fees very low. There are some digital accounting solutions where you'll pay hundreds of dollars a month, and you'll get here everything's done. And we've had many of our customers say, well, no, I don't want it all done. I'm happy to do the categorization and the customer billing. In fact, that's if you can make that easy for me by making the workflow simple, making sure that I can do the same thing on the web as I can in your mobile app. I'm happy to do all that work myself because I'm interested in what it can tell me. So when it comes to the value, we keep our costs very low. You can go right to neat.com and see that our solution, for example, we've kept that very simple as well. Right, one single price, $24 a month for an annual subscription. And we've actually introduced something very interesting that this show will be one of the first introductions of this, which is for years, the payment fees that have been associated with electronic invoices. And so we enable our customers to bill their customers. And we've seen, many of our customers are selling and billing for their time, whether they're creatives or they independent consultants, web designers, web developers. But anyway, what they have in common is they're billing for their time. And when they send an electronic invoice to their customers, so many still are kind of doing that attached Word document and waiting for the paper check to arrive in the mail. And we digitize that entire process. Others do too. And for years, the bank transactions, so, customers, our clients have a choice. All right, do you want to allow your customers to pay you with a credit card or debit card, or do you want to do a bank transaction? And they've always had fees associated with them. The card fees are standard. So, Visa and MasterCard kind of never let you get away with, paying anything below the industry standard there. But the bank transactions have always been interesting to me because my background has been in billing and payments for years in the software business, mostly in the enterprise. But when we look at bank transactions, the going rate of 1% has always been, the industry standard in digital accounting. We want to turn that on its head. So we are introducing and have just introduced no fee ACH transactions, bank transactions into the market. So literally, if you are somebody who's a creative and perhaps you're billing a handful of customers $1,000, $2,000 a month, those can add up pretty quickly. And it gets to the point where our subscription can actually pay for itself if you've been using another solution to collect those payments electronically. So we're delighted with that, and that makes the expense equation very favorable to our clients, which we're very happy about.
Well, and so as you kind of mapped out like your pricing structure, like $25 a month, basically. And this is what I did. It was like, so if I'm going to spend $300 a month or a year. So I went back and like, well, what is my time? How much time have I been spending? And it was an easy calculation. Like, oh my gosh, my time is well worth more than what I would be paying from an outsourced expense. So I cleared that hurdle. The other hurdle that it took me a minute to get over, though, was I just always have this paranoia about security, right? So the security risk of my own financial information, and then as well for my clients as well and their data. How did you guys address that? What do you guys do?
Yeah. So with Neat, given our history in scanning and storing sensitive data, this has always been top of mind for us. So we have always implemented into our technology stack all of the latest security technology. You'll often see the phrase, and we use it too because it's the right way to think about it, bank level security that we provide to our customers. And we've been doing that for 20 years. So this is not new to us, implementing all of these security best practices that our customers have come to expect. And yeah, when you see things like hey, connect up your bank account and stream in your transactions. Many of our customers do a double take on that for sure. So we want to, always be reassuring them that we don't store your bank credentials on our side. This data is highly encrypted and is not at risk. That being said, some still hesitate to that. So we've actually introduced something into our product that just lets you do a full demo test drive of test transactions in there. So you can see what the experience is like without having to make that connection. And it becomes obvious then for many of our customers, oh, that's what happens with the data. Got it. Mm-hmm. And that will often clear the hurdle for them.
Nice. I'm going to ask you, do you guys have, and I'm almost embarrassed because I didn't look at this myself before we started talking. Do you have an online integration, meaning a website backend integration? So for people that are doing e-commerce or selling things, so that essentially it's a transaction front end processing?
We've been primarily focused on service-based businesses. Okay. But for those that are selling goods, if you've got a PayPal account, for example, that is, kind of your main source of where sales are being made, yes, you can absolutely connect that in as well. So we've got kind of a select number of integrations that we have out of the box. But you'll see, most of our customers are kind of in that freelancer, independent consultant, solopreneur realm. And so they're very interested in being able to quickly and easily bill their customers for their time, get the handful of expenses that they have organized, feel prepared for taxes, and also get those insights. Like, am I in a position where I can take on that next big project? Can I hire somebody else into my agency? So those are the kinds of insights that we're able to provide to those customers.
Yeah, that's nice. We'll have to explore some of your solutions, because we build a lot of different websites for various clients that have some form of e-commerce at times, and they typically are integrating things like WooCommerce or BigCommerce, and then utilizing either PayPal or Stripe as a processor. And so we'll see. We'll look at that on our end. It's like, wow, this could be a nice offering potentially for some of our clients as well. I'm going to let you celebrate something here as well. So you just recently, because I got the press release actually, which was great, that Neat launches mobile app that puts total financial management into the hands of small business owners. So this was just literally a few days ago, actually, that you announced the launch of this. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, something we're absolutely delighted about. So we have been investing heavily in our mobile experience. So Neat traditionally has been, a web-based experience. We've always had a mobile app that was kind of a companion to your Neat experience. But we wanted to get to a position where we felt a customer who was finding us in the App Store could sign up, subscribe, and have their entire Neat experience in the app itself. And so that's the point that we're at now. We couldn't be more excited about it. Again, whether your preference is operating from your mobile app. So I love it. You want to be able to invoice your customers on the go, send them a reminder, see your latest bank transactions. Even this is always an amazing one to me, Randy. Somebody will go into the Neat app and they've connected, their bank account, their core checking for their business, their credit card, and maybe, one of these kind of PayPal accounts. They see them together for the first time and realize, oh my goodness, I don't have to log into Bank of America and Wells Fargo and American Express and PayPal to figure out what's what about my expenses. And so we have consolidated all of that into one single app experience. And so that's what we were super excited to announce.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that. Now I do have to ask, because I'm an Android user, when is the Android version coming out?
So we have an Android version of the app. It's just we are catching up on the whole sign up and subscription process with the Google Play Store in the coming weeks.
All right. So I'll look forward to it then. All right. So it's available on the Apple Store. And is it just it's called the Neat mobile app? Is that what they should search for if they're on the...
You just search for Neat in the App Store. You will find us very quickly, and definitely encourage you to take a test drive right through the app itself.
Yeah, and I understand you got a 14-day free trial on it, so that's always fun. I like free, so I'm all in on free. Yeah, very good. All right. So, Garrett, we've talked about the 7th inning stretch. Here it comes. Are you ready?
And it's time for the 7th inning stretch.
All right, Garrett. So this is the point in the show. I got to ask you a little bit about, some baseball trivia stuff, just for the fun of it. Are you a baseball fan by chance, living out in Philly?
I am a baseball fan.
All right.
But I would say for whatever reason, the city of Philadelphia in the last many years transformed me into a larger football fan of baseball.
Yeah.
However, I was, that kid who grew up collecting baseball cards, sticker books, all of that. So if you've got any, who led the league in triples in 1986, I could tell you Willie Wilson was your guy from the Kansas City Royals, but that's
nice. That's some good old history right there. That's some good data. I'm not going to reach back that far. Sorry, brother. By the way, did you happen to catch that Phillies Cubs series that just happened over the last weekend?
I did not, unfortunately. Yeah. We've been, excited about the Phillies prospects since Girardi's departure, but no, I missed it.
Yeah, well, it was the Cubs swept the Phillies there in Philadelphia the first time in 20 some odd years, and which is crazy because the Cubs are challenged this year, we will say at best. So anyway, so we're going to talk about kind of a little bit about the business in baseball to kind of tie into your niche a little bit, and really about the business of managing season tickets. All right. People buy season tickets. I don't know if you've ever had season tickets. I used to be a season ticket holder. Sometimes I'm like, what the heck do I do with all of these tickets? There's no way I can go to all of these games. My wife wouldn't put up with it. And so we used to give them away to employees, here's staff, go have fun, give them to clients. I still would end up having a bunch of tickets left over. So there's a whole business around this. Before we get into this, your main question, though, I've got a few run-up kind of little tidbits for you. So season ticket holder, who do you think is the top priciest stadium for season ticket? Probably not that difficult to figure this one out. But
just probably, I would guess Fenway Park, just because of lower capacity and, very big payroll team, lots of revenue.
That's very logical. I will have to applaud you for that.
It's maybe on a per seat basis.
Yeah, it's actually the Yankees, and up to $17,000 for one season ticket. That's one of their top premier ticket. But yeah,
so very comfy looking seats you see behind home plate.
Yes, but very similar, right? You've got a high payroll team, so they got to generate some money for that. Here's another little run-up question. So MLB ranks their kind of in demand for tickets throughout the seasons and such. So thus far through the 2022 season, top 10 in demand MLB teams and their tickets. You can imagine, probably wouldn't be too difficult to rattle off. The number one, I was a little surprised by. My fan favorites, the Cubs, were number 7 on this list. Philly, number 9 on the list. That actually did kind of surprise me. Nothing against Philadelphia, but number 1, have any idea? This one surprised me. This was not one of, like you would think, the Yankees or the Red Sox.
Number 1 in demand
season ticket.
I'm gonna guess the last place Washington Nationals.
That would be something. The Atlanta Braves. Now, nothing against the Braves. I mean, they're a popular
beautiful
team,
stadium.
Right? Yeah,
beautiful
stadium. World Series winners. In my mind, when you always hear, top 10, who has the most, I'm always thinking Yankees or the Red Sox. It's always got to be, right?
Yankees,
one of those. You can't almost lose with guessing one of those people. But yeah, and the most on-demand or in-demand home opener for this season was Red Sox versus the Yankees on April 7th to open it up. So, crazy. So here's yours. So we talked about season tickets. And there's a whole, kind of business out there in regards to season tickets. So, and this is where my research team says, well, you guide it from like summer shares, right? So your summer housing sharing business to season ticket sharing. Okay. You got the making a stretch on a connection there, but we're trying to get
I'll
there.
go with it.
All right. So here's your question. What % of season ticket holders share or sell their tickets on third-party platforms?
It's got to be a huge number. 95%. It's got to be huge.
It is big. It's bigger. It is big. Less than what I thought. And I think this will surprise you.
81 games is a lot to commit to unless you're a rabid fan of the team. Okay, maybe
70%. Can you imagine? 70%. So saying then that 30% of the people don't share or sell,
or they've got their go-to friends that they split it up with.
That's what I was just thinking.
Who needs a third-party platform?
Right. Yeah. So crazy, but that's a good number. But wow. All right. Well, see, that wasn't so bad, Garrett. We rattled off some fun baseball facts and all that kind of stuff. So you did well, my friend. You did well.
I don't know about that.
All right. Let's get back into it.
Play ball.
All right. So, Garrett, you mentioned, I want to talk a little bit more about just your management experience. You're president, you're CEO of this great company right now. You came in, as you shared, really right at the beginning of the pandemic, right? Like in May of 20 is, I think, when you came into the company. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine entering a new large company in that kind of a climate, extremely difficult time to start any job, I think, let alone be the new leader, CEO. What did that look like for you, and how did you begin to tackle, I guess, the challenges of the business environment at that time?
Literally one of the first things that we had to do was figure out how to migrate from what was a very office-centric culture to a remote culture.
Sure.
And starting it was the easy part. We closed the office. But then going from there to realize that, oh my goodness, we need an entirely new set of policies and procedures for our team. We need to understand the implications of not seeing our colleagues. It's fascinating, Randy. We've got our second half kickoff meeting with the team in person for the first time literally next week. And there are many members of our team that I've not met in person yet, that I'm just eager to do so. And here we are 2.5 years later. And so what we found, I think we were very fortunate that, one, our business was not heavily impacted by COVID, and two, our team really embraced the remote first working environment and adapted very quickly to the point where we saw productivity even rise, because you think about eliminated commutes and other aspects like that of how workers are doing their jobs. And it's been very, very good for the Neat company overall. Now, granted, there are a few things for me, walking around the office and being able to just kind of do a quick check-in with people kind of goes away. And of course, if you schedule a meeting with somebody, you're like, oh, what does he want to talk about? And I don't want or like to do that. And so that's, something that I certainly miss being able to do. But we were very fortunate that our team adapted, and I really chalk it up to our leaders. And I'm sure, as you talk about a lot on the show, having a great team around you is just absolutely everything in a business like the Neat Company. We've been fortunate to have a really strong crop of leaders that are here. And when I came into the business, it was we were on the brink of this, introducing this new holistic version of our product that was doing so much more. And it really required amazing leadership from our team to navigate both that and a pandemic at the same time.
I can't even imagine the struggles with that. You just mentioned something. One of the things in previous lives, I worked and was a leader in a large company, and I loved to kind of walk around and go touch base with the team and just like walk in to their, hey, how's it going? Just that touch base, informal, kind of create some of that connection. And when the office is closed, it's very difficult to do that, and there is a little bit more of a formality. If you end up having to just pick up the phone and call, if I got the call from, well, Mr. Baird just called me. Oh my gosh, what's he want? Like they're just,
right.
Instead of the, hey, what's going on? Good to see you today. How's your day going? Right. That much more informal. Yeah.
Right. Because today's version of that is, the Slack message from Garrett, or the requested, the calendar appointment for a Zoom call.
Yeah. Yeah. All of a sudden that doesn't quite have the same easy, carefree feel to it as just kind of doing a drop by.
I just want to know how your Neat experience is going. No big deal.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard to convey that, right? You're like,
we're all here to make things amazing together. That's what I want to talk about.
So how does that, so you made that transition kind of working at home, as you say. I love how you say, well, we just closed the office. How does that look today? Because I know in so much, and you read so much in the headlines and talking about remote work and how people value and what they prefer and all of this kind of stuff. What does it look like at Neat today? And I should say, how many employees do you have at Neat as a whole?
We're right around 40.
40 employees. So what does that look like today in the sense of, I don't want to say necessarily percentage, but you have a number of people still working remotely, or is everybody back in the building? How's that make up?
Yeah, so we really embraced a remote first environment. So we wound up not reopening our office to daily work. We gathered a ton of feedback from our team members, from the Neaters that work with us, and the response was overwhelming. That people really did want to continue to be remote and embrace the new levels of productivity that they felt strongly were a result of that. So what we decided to do, and we're just in the process of implementing this because our office lease is expiring literally in a matter of days. We did, however, pick up a shared space so that we can gather together either as small teams or for kind of a quarterly get together where we have the space. But we've got tremendous flexibility with the arrangement that we put together to have small teams come together, have our full team come together, but primarily remain remote and continue to accrue the benefits that we've seen out of that. Now that's, I think there's something particular about obviously being a software company to be able to do that. Because certainly if we were, working on, intense projects, drawing blueprints, things that really require, lots of in-person interaction that, a Zoom or a Google Meet or a Miro board couldn't really bring together, we may have made a different decision. But yeah, we're very excited about the situation that we have and look to continue.
Well, it certainly gives you a tremendous amount of flexibility. I think clearly, just as you even outlined about your office space. So I'm assuming you've let go of probably the larger space and have acquired something that gives you a lot more flexibility, as you outlined.
That's it. And it let us open the talent pool as well.
Yes,
so we were very oriented to Southeast Pennsylvania and South Jersey, Delaware, but we've brought on team members from Illinois, Atlanta, contractors in even in Brazil. There's some super talented people that are on our same exact time zone and are super talented coders that we identified again during the pandemic.
Yeah, so it really does. That's the other aspect. I was like, hey, so all of this issue around staffing shortages and such, you instead of being in a much more regionalized area, it allowed you to really expand. And we're similar. All of my staff is all remote. So we used to have a much larger office. Pandemic hit. A few months later, we did the exact same thing. We downsized our office, and now it's just me in the office, basically, and then everybody else is remote and dials in, and that's kind of fun, I guess. So good for you. So what do you see around the corner for Neat? So you just released this great new app. You got other stuff, other tricks up your sleeve there, Mr. President?
We do. So we've released the new app. We've announced this, I think, very exciting differentiator in payment fees that I think it will, really position us well in the industry, particularly for those that are, billing primarily for their time. So consultants, freelancers, side hustlers, et cetera. And we plan to just continue to reach into those marketplaces and tell our story and let them know that, whether you are, just getting your business going and you're trying to figure out what does it mean to be financially organized, or you've kind of built a system of your own that might be working for you, but an error caught you by surprise. That it's amazing when we hear our customers talk about how we resolved errors for them, and that well more than paid for the subscription itself. But we're just going to continue to bring our message into the marketplace, serve more and more outstanding small business owners, and continue to build upon the awesome experience that is the Neat platform right now.
Nice. I loved it as well. I'm going to go back. You mentioned how you referred to your team members, Neaters. I love that. That is great. So I want to remind our folks, so many of our listeners are small business owners, entrepreneurs. They can find the Neat company and their product services at neat.com. And we'll have these links as well down in the show notes. Also, don't forget the new app that's out. Go to the Apple App Store, look for Neat, and sign up there. 14-day free trial with that. Very fun. Okay, Garrett, so here we are. We're at the bottom of the ninth, and this is where I have fun. I get to ask, what advice do you have for rookies in the game? So you're this old, grizzled veteran managing business and finances since the Jersey Shore days. What kind of advice do you have for businesses who are just starting out in the game, or maybe who already have their business and are just looking for some words of wisdom, some guidance?
Yes. Number one, always is a healthy obsession with your customers and how they interact with you and what their needs and interests are. I've found, whether I'm working with a very large enterprise or even the smallest of business owners, challenges happen, and it's how you respond to those challenges that make all the difference. You can, make mistakes, have errors, that things happen, but it's how you respond that shows your customer your true grit and that they appreciate, and that's what builds long-lasting relationships. And just tell them what's happening. They appreciate absolute openness, candor, honesty, etc. And then, back to that concept of team members, teammates, leaders in our case, surrounding yourself with the best people that you can find makes all the difference in business and in my experience. And I've been fortunate to have so many great people that have been colleagues and partners and customers over time. It's been very, very fulfilling for me and hopefully for them too.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's working. It's great advice, and it's a formula that's been working for you and your experiences and with Neat over the last number of years. So that is terrific. I loved your first point on that, I think, which was, hey, challenges happen and it's all about how you respond to that. And that continues to solidify the relationship with your clients. And I think that is so, so true. And almost regardless of industry, that relationship with the client is so critical, and continuing to maintain that. So good lessons. Well, thank you, Garrett, for being on the show. Been a lot of fun learning about Neat and things that you guys do and to help support small businesses and entrepreneurs. So and you taught me something about property management as well. So
fantastic.
All right.
Yeah, it was very somewhat disheveled version of property management looking back, but we made it work. A lot of people had a lot of fun.
All right. Well, good for you. Well, thanks again for being on the show. And folks, that's the ball game. Thanks for joining us today. And if you like our show, please tell your friends, subscribe and review, and we'll see you around the ballpark. Running the Bases with Small Businesses is brought to you by 38 Digital Market, a digital marketing agency committed to client growth with lead generation, higher conversions, and increased sales. Connect with us today at 38digitalmarket.com.